it's part of the juggle,
The calculation changes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it changes or you're just more aware of like either what you always wanted or what you like should have been trying to pursue from the beginning.
What do you think it is for you?
A little of the latter, I think.
Okay. And
It,
that being what? The studio stuff you do, or
well, yeah, and just how you kind of handle I mean, I love playing gigs and I'm very fortunate to play with a lot of great players, but as you know, sometimes the gig is way more of a thing than, the financial benefit and the amount of time and energy and all that. And in some ways, it's like we could all got together and hit record and came out with a cool little live record that maybe has a longer, more memorable timestamp in
mm,
your lifetime resume rather than just, schlepping from one bar gig to another gig
mm.
or just going, okay, yeah, cool. We did the thing. And now, unless I'm going to have, 7 of those every day for the rest of my life. Like what's the next one going to be?
Right. Well, okay. I mean, that's perfect place to put a pin in this, which is okay. The calculation that you have to make. Let's say now as a what do you call it? A mid-career musician. I've heard people say that. That seems. I know I'm not that old, man. But a midlife crisis musician. There's plenty of us. But you have to make that calculation in terms of the financial. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you're paying the bills, and if you're going to go play a gig, it has to pay enough for you to spend your time outside the house, all that stuff.
Right.
And whereas when we were younger, I know for me, if I had a few gigs in a month, I'm like, this is great because I was always teaching like and like so it's like, oh, this is great. Okay, cool. Oh, $100, yeah, fine. And it was like not even and of course as you're sort of coming up the ranks, you have to take everything, right?
Yeah.
But now you may, like you're saying, that the calculus changes a little bit. Now, if you have a steady, I know you play with some steady groups too, like Goodnight Blue Moon and ones where you play with for a long time. We could talk about that band too. Um,
Yeah.
but like, you have these things you get to play with our mutual good friend Will Early all the time and,
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
different various Will projects. So
Yeah.
you have, and many, many more things, but you're finding that if I'm, don't let me misquote you, but like you're finding that now the thought is not necessarily, it's like, okay, I have to do other things because of the one gig twice a week or whatever it is. That's not, I have to figure out all these other things to do. And you may even prioritize the other things is what you're saying above that and go, I got to turn this gig down. I can't do it. Is that,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And by no means am I like a guy who's in a position to turn down gigs. I don't mean it like that, by any stretch. But yeah, I mean, you could just run ragged. I think when we got out of college, how many $50 gigs were you going to and you want to feel relevant and you want people to call you and all of that. But at the same time, like if you're not really moving the needle, whether it be, I mean, it's not about money necessarily either. It's about the art of it too.